Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Gore here, and we are back yet again for another Cast King Live. We're back. It's January 2026. We had Mr. Cliff Crochet on last week talking about his season kicking off here pretty soon for the NPFL. And you know what? I'm excited to announce we've got yet another Cast King Elite Angler coming on. This one is our OG Elite, Mr. Brent Chapman. We'll be bringing him on in a minute. But while we're letting people jump into the chat and get things going, I'm going to look over into the comment section, say hello. Of course, as you know, YouTube is always popping off early. Let's see who we got over here. We got Gary E. What's going on? William Joe Elliott. How's it going? Bass Bros, what's happening? Juan Pedroza, what's happening with you, man? Who else we got in here? Facebook's going to start coming in here pretty quick. Melissa Justice, man, I haven't seen the Justice family in a while. Who else we got? We got Joe Cool. A lot of people coming in. It's going to be a good show here, guys. I don't know what's going on with anybody seen Milton Milton ain't been around in a while, so we'll see here. Juan Pedroza's got a question. Well, let's get it out of the way right out of the gate before we bring our guest on here in a minute. He's getting ready. What do we got, Juan? What's your question for us? Oh, here comes Facebook. Will KastKing do a Houston fishing show this year? Not that I'm aware of, but it could happen. I don't know the schedule for all the events. I know that I'm looking at Bassmaster Classic for an event that I might be working as well as iCast. I know we're not doing the Red Crest show this year, so we will see. So a lot of, I will say one thing, a lot of your big names like Abu and other ones, and other people in the industry, they've kind of scaled back some of the different shows that they're doing, and pick and choose, and of course make sure you're supporting the correct investments and things like that. So for us, we look at the Classic and iCast as definitely being a show we want to hit, and then of course also we just hit the Sacramento show for Sportsman's. But anyhow, so let's get going. I don't see Juan Pedroza with the question he's got, but maybe he's got a question later for Mr. Brent Chapman, who I'm going to be bringing on the air here just right now. Brent, if you're ready to go, you're coming to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Major League Fishing Elite, and of course, Bass Pro Tour star, Mr. Brent Chapman. You're a KastKing favorite for all of us. Brent, how you been?
Hey, AJ, I've been great. Happy New Year to everybody. And I'm from Kansas, but hey, I'm in Florida right now. So considering the time of year, I can't complain.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm in Arizona, and we've had some warm days, and I was just talking to you a minute ago about you said you went fishing today. Water temp was in the 50s. Yep. We've got water temp in the 40s. So it's kind of crazy. And you said you were looking at different areas to go wet a line and whatnot. And you chose to hit Florida up with your parents. I mean, there's only a couple places around the country where it's still warm enough to fish, but even though it's warm enough to fish, it doesn't mean that the fishing's great. 40-degree water temp for me. We struggled this last week. Yeah. How was the bite for you today?
Today, considering Florida, we're still post-frontal conditions. You get this strong north wind blowing and northeast winds. So it makes it really difficult. In Florida, it's hard to get out of the wind, and you really need that wind to change out of the south, which it's supposed to do, I think, Thursday or Friday. So, we'll try to get back out at it again. But no, we were at Guntersville last week, and we've got just 2 weeks between now and our next event. And when we're not fishing tournaments, what we need to be doing is fishing and creating content and just kind of getting back into the swing of things. And considering things are going to be frozen at home, we opted to come down to Florida early and just going to come down here, work on some content, do a little fishing, and we'll kick off our next event, which I'm doing the pro circuit this year. And that kicks off here in a little under 2 weeks on the Harris chain. So yeah, be sure to follow along watching me on those as well this year.
So you're doing the Bass Pro Tour, and what other circuit are you doing?
The Major League Fishing Pro Circuit. It's actually the stepping stone for the guys to qualify for the Bass Pro Tour, but they do have some really good money involved. They've got a good championship this year. And I'm going to go on old school, back to a 5-fish, put them in the live well, coal fish, and don't have to have a score tracker nagging at me all day long and knowing that I have to catch 50 scorables a day just to be in contention. So it'll be kind of nice. I love the Bass Pro Tour, and I love that every fish counts, but it'll kind of be, I think, a relief and a little less stressful to go back and do this pro circuit and go back to an old 5-fish deal. And I absolutely love the Harris chain. So I'm really looking forward to that event coming up.
Which that's an interesting point to make there, going back to the old 5-fish limit. If you had a choice, okay, well, it's kind of a weird way to word it, I guess. Would you say you prefer that, since I mean, obviously in your career moving up, that's probably what built the foundation that got you where you are. Yep. And then of course, with the changes in MLF over the years, and then going into this every fish counts, they've changed a couple things. If you could choose, if you had a choice to say, this is my favorite, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with what you do in other circuits, but if you had a preference, what's your preference?
Without a doubt, the catch, weigh, release, every fish counts. Because I truly believe the person that goes out and catches the most scoreable bass in a day is truly the champion. And the perfect example of that is this past event at Lake Guntersville. Drew Gill, my hat's off to him. He won his third event, and he earned it. I mean, he caught more scoreable bass every day than everybody else. And the way I try to tell people is, who's really the better fisherman? The guy that went out on Guntersville and caught 4 4-pounders and happened to catch 1 5-pounder, or the guy that went out and caught 50 4-pound bass but not a 5-pounder? Who's really the better fisherman? You know what I mean? So, and I know there's can be a debate for that, but and then, you know, my very first time I ever did a MLF event with the Every Fish Counts was in the fall of 2012. It was the year I won Angler of the Year, and I got to come in as an alternate because Mark Davis couldn't make an event, so they asked me to come to it, and it was actually down here in Florida, and I got to be a part of it. And I knew that very first day when I got to be a part of that, this is the future of bass fishing. This is awesome. I mean, because there isn't any other sports out there where you have to wait to the end of the day to find out where you fared compared to everybody else. And having that score tracker, it's so much more intense than a 5-fish deal. So I love it. It's probably taken many years off of my life from the stress of it, but there's nothing more rewarding than being up there at the top and setting the pace and all that. But you really can't ever really relax in these things either with the Every Fish Counts deal also. So I love it.
Hey, if you're at the top of the field and you all of a sudden know, hey, I'm the it guy right now. And you've got somebody behind you going, so-and-so just caught this, so-and-so just caught this. I mean, you've consistently got the monkey on your back rather than a 5-fish limit. You're out for 7 hours and you're like, I got a chance. I think I'm in the money. Like, I mean, I could do good. And you just kind of, you brush it off like, we'll just see.
Well, you go to the weigh-in and you hope your 5 outweigh everybody else's 5. So yeah, but with the Every Fish Counts and that boat official back there telling you, if people followed along this last week, I was the unfortunate one on that one. I dug myself a little bit in a hole going into the final period at this last event, and I changed up and I went scoping to a spot that I knew was good, and it just happened to be where Drew Gill won the tournament. But I opted to go there during the third period, and my very first bite there was a 7-2. And it dug me out of the hole, and I think I made it all the way up to 20th place, and the top 20 got to move on and fish on Saturday. And within the last 30 minutes of it, my boat official, you're now in 21st place. You're now in 22nd place. And literally with like 5 minutes to go, I got bumped from 25th to 26th. And I came up a little bit short. I was one fish from making it to Saturday. Only cost me $15,000. And then I really had to play it through my mind of the two. I lost a 4-pounder and probably a 3-pounder the day before that cost me. And unfortunately, in the world of tournament fishing, if you don't execute on every bite sometimes and lose a couple, it can come back to haunt you. And unfortunately, that's what it did. But hey, 26th isn't 46th. And I also got a really good heavy hitters fish for the start of heavy hitters as well. So we're just going to make sure that 26th is our worst finish of the year.
And mind you, I mean, everybody's got to realize too, like, you're fishing against some of the greatest. To be where you're at, you guys are some of the greatest fishermen in the world. You're amongst good company so at any given day, you could have a top 10, and then the next week you're dead last or in the middle of the pack.
Here's something else to touch on too, that I love about the Every Fish counts format is like Lake Gunnersville again. If I went to Lake Gunnersville in a 5-fish event, and let's say I had motor trouble or just had an unfortunate day and I blanked the first day or catch one in a 5-fish deal, you might as well go home because there's no way you're going to catch up because everybody would have had an 18-pound bag at a minimum just to be in the money. So there's no way you're going to go catch 5 the next day to earn a check, where we've seen it in Major League Fishing format style where guys have gone out and maybe not caught any or been dead last in the tournament and go out on the second day and literally have a huge comeback and end up in the top 5. So that's what I love about it too, is it really gives you a chance to recover if you've had a bad day also.
Yeah, true. Okay, so just a reminder, I put it in the chat, guys. I am going to be giving away, in honor of having Brent Chapman on the show, I am going to be giving away a Brent Chapman combo. I'll let you guys choose whatever's available in stock, whether it's a bait casting combo or a spinning combo. Our lucky winner will get to choose that.
There
How
you go.
can you guys enter to win? Commenting. If you ask Brent a question, if you go, hey, Brent's my favorite angler. Brent's not my favorite angler. AJ's full of beans. I don't know why he's hosting. Any comment gets you entered to win. Funny story is I actually randomly picked somebody in the comment section a couple weeks back who was talking trash to me, and they won some casting gear, and now they're like always on. So it's great.
Now they're your favorite, huh?
Yeah, right. They're like, hey, AJ's cool. So instead of giving away AJ, they called me give it up. AJ.
You're buying your love there.
I guess if you want to look at it that way, KastKing bought it for me. So
there you go.
So I got a question up on the screen, Brent, that we're going to ask you real quick, and then I'll kind of bang through some of my questions, and of course take some more from the comment section because I know the fans adore you. But this one is a great question to ask. So, Brent, you're no stranger to MLF. You're no stranger to the tournament series, things like that. This isn't your first show here, obviously, especially with the MLF or the Bass Pro Tour. But with this question, Brent, in 2026, what is something that you're looking forward to most in this upcoming Bass Pro Tour? Or since you're fishing both, either the Pro Tour or the Bass Pro Tour in MLF, what are you looking forward to most about
it? Bobby's in the background, so I'm looking forward to most spending time with my wife, Bobby. But no, on that note, I'm really excited because I qualified for heavy hitters this year. And if people have followed along my career the last couple of years, as the MLF heavy hitters this year is on a really cool lake that I'm excited about. It's in May, and it's on Orange Lake down here in Florida. Okay. And if people remember, if they followed along, Orange Lake is a pretty special lake for me because it's where I caught my personal best 3 or 4 years back. I caught an 11.3 there, and it's going to be at the same time of year when we were there. So I'm really looking forward to heavy hitters this year. And what I'm also looking forward to is, it seems like the last couple of years, everywhere we've gone, we're a long ways from home. Like last year, the closest event to home was Kentucky Lake, and that was almost an 8-hour drive from home. But this year, I'm really excited because we're going to be at 2 lakes where I grew up fishing. We're going to be at Grand Lake, a lake that I feel like I would consider one of my home fisheries. We're going to be there in June, and then we're going to be at one I haven't been to in a very, very long time, and that's Beaver Lake in Arkansas, but it's where I got my first AAA level win back in, I think, 92. So it's got kind of a special place to me as Beaver Lake. It's not going to be the weights of a Lake Gunnersville, but it's still going to be a great fishery. And so it's kind of fun to be at some lakes where I have some history with. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Now, not to date you, Brent, but I'm going to date you. How old were you in 92 that you got this AAA win?
Well, I think I was 19 or 20. It was my first year of fishing the Central Pro-Am circuit at home. And I was 20. I think I was 20 at the time. And I know at the time, that's when you had to like have an adult get a hotel room for you. And I remember staying with a guy because I couldn't get a hotel room myself back in the day. So
yeah, that's
awesome, I see a comment down below.
Yeah. You see that. Do you remember Potomac?
Oh, yes, I do. Hi, Chad. I do. Chad was my awesome boat official at the Potomac River this last year. And what's funny about the Potomac River was Chad is one of our awesome veterans, that's served around the world. And I'll never forget this, is he told me it was the most hottest day ever that he'd ever had. He spent a tour, I think, in Iraq and Afghanistan and all that. Potomac River was the hottest day I've ever fished in a boat. It was absolutely miserable. So I've been to some hot places around the country. I know you're hot out there in Arizona, but if you want some miserable hot fishing, go to Potomac River in June or July when it gets to be 95 degrees and 100% humidity. It is brutal. And Chad will attest to that.
I want nothing to do with that. So nothing to do with that. Now, let me ask you. So going into 2026, we've got Bass Pro Tour. You've got the Pro Tour, MLF. How did you prepare? Is there anything, that stands out in your mind preparing for this upcoming season that resonates with you?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been a busy off season because we've doubled my workload as far as tournaments go, and going back to a 5 fish deal. It's been a very, very long time since I've had to measure fish, since I've had to cull fish. I mean, it's usually we put them on a scale and our boat official takes care of the rest. So I actually did that some today. I put some fish in the live well, played with my Bubba scale and practicing, weighing them and getting them on floats, and remembering that I need to be able to count to 5 and 6, and remember at 6 you got a cull fish. So that was a big adjustment. And a big thing too is I switched over a lot of my casting gear this year. The Speed Demon Demon rods have been amazing for a very long time, and this year we switched it up to the Asage. So I made a big shift there. So I've been getting used to the changes there. And what's been really cool with that as well is I've been working with good old Al, and we're hopefully going to come up with some new additions to the Asage line as well.
So, it's funny is I just talked to Al. Al's in Arizona now. He just showed up here a couple weeks ago, and I had to do some work for him on his kayak trailer. And we were talking about the Asage rods, and yeah, he's got some irons in the fire. And
I just will say, sitting in my new Nitro are some new prototypes that we're playing with right now.
Sitting in your new Nitro.
Yep. So I know that's a new change too. That this year was an exciting year for me. It was great to run a Triton for 25 years, but we made a little bit of a shift and running a new Nitro Z21 this year, and getting used to it and really liking it. So some little bit changes, but sometimes change is good.
Let me ask you this. Now, I've never owned a Triton. I've had a couple of different boats myself, but one thing I've always liked about the Nitros, and don't get me wrong, Triton, Skeeter, Phoenix, there's tons of good boats out there, guys. You know what I mean? And so whatever choice you go with, you'll have your reasons, I'm sure. But to touch on a Nitro, I think the Phoenix bass boats look gorgeous. I love them like crazy. But I always say, if I had my choice and say I was gifted 2 boats, a choice, there's one of 2 that I could pick right out of the gate. And I'll tell you, Nitro is one of them. And for one major reason, dude, they're big. They're super wide. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big guy and I don't necessarily need a big boat, but my fishing partner that I fish with all the time, he's 6'7".
There you go. It's a big boat, and it's got plenty of room in it. Here's something else I really like about it. I know if we have to make any long runs, I am not going to run out of gas, running that Mercury all over the place, because it's got a 55-gallon gas tank in it. I know when I filled it up for the very first time, I just kept putting gas in that thing. And that's most of the time you don't need it. But I'll tell you what, when you go to those certain bodies of water and you want to make a super long run where stopping to get gas comes into play, that can be a difference maker. And having that extra 5 to 10 or 15 gallons over the competition can sometimes be the big difference maker.
Oh yeah. I can't tell you. I don't think a year goes by that I don't see some post or something online about how so-and-so ran out of gas and hitched a ride with so-and-so to make it to weigh-ins or yada, yada, yada. So yeah, I mean, a big fuel tank, man, especially when
I know for me that the nice thing was I didn't make any real long runs at Guntersville, but I didn't have to put gas in my boat the entire week. So filled it up at the beginning and had plenty of gas at the end.
All right. Well, so that kind of segues into this next question. Then I'll take a question from the fans here. But so 2026, we talked about making some new adjustments or anything. Is there anything new for, like big adjustments that you had to make that are like obviously new boat, new rods and reels, or not reels, but new rods? I'm sure some new reels.
Reels. Oh yeah, the MGTIs too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's another new reel, which I want to talk about. I just learned about it today. And of course, you and I will talk more about it later.
You probably know more about it than I do. So we might have to talk off air on that
well,
one.
we can. I think you're going to be excited for it. So,
All right.
But we'll talk about that later because I'm excited for it. But anyhow, any other big changes? Like, is there anything like you had to go back to the drawing board on and say, hey, I've been weak on this field, or I could do better, or you know what, that was a train wreck. I thought that was going to be a gold mine. Any major changes that you completely revamped?
The biggest thing is, love it or hate it, it's here to stay, and that's the live scoping. And I'm learning, I'm getting better with it, and I've spent a fair amount in the off season working on my scoping because, I mean, Drew Gill has proven it that he can go win these events by just what he can catch in one period. And I feel like I've gotten better and better at it. I mean, like I said, I actually almost dug myself out of a hole and got a check because of the scoping. And I know our next event's going to be a huge player with it. And it's just going to be a big player for us moving forward. So that was one of the things I really had to focus on the off season. But then, like I said, just switching rods and reels and a boat, it's just getting time on the water and just really getting yourself familiarized with all the new equipment is really the biggest thing. And like I said, back to culling fish, and when the last time I culled fish, the Bubba scales weren't even around, so I'm learning how to operate the Bubba scales and how to, operate my live wells properly and all that good stuff. So
now with live scoping, because I just barely got live scope last year, and I had it for like 3-4 months out of the year, but I got onto a lake where I didn't even look at it. Like, it blew my mind when I first turned it on. I was like, oh my God, like there's fish everywhere.
Right.
And it blew my mind too, how long it took for live scope happening now. And then you look at your traditional 2D sonar, how long it actually took for it to read. And you're like, that's an eternity. So that kind of like makes me think, all these times that I'm thinking I'm sitting right on top of active fish, they're already gone. And when I caught fish, I either just got lucky or they happened to be around. But it was mind blowing. But with live scope and things like that, I'm still trying to dial it in, and I am still learning. I'm a novice if there ever was one. What's the one technique on live scope that you would say has been beneficial to you?
Well, I'm learning the shake and the minnow thing. That's the deal where guys have really gotten good with it, and I feel like I'm behind the game on that. So I'm trying to find somewhere where I can do it where the fish haven't already been bombarded with it, where they're a little easier to catch. But I can tell people, like I said, love it or hate it, live scope is here to stay, and it's a tool. It's what it is. It's a tool. Learn how to use it. You don't have to, if you're against it, you don't have to do it. But it's an amazing tool to learn to become a better fisherman. Because what amazes me today, I was using it here, and you know how many thousands of fish I threw out today? That just because I threw at them doesn't mean I catch them. But what's really helps your confidence is you realize, hey, I'm wasting my time throwing over here to the left because there's no fish over here. But over here to the right is where the fish are. At least I know I'm putting the bait in the strike zone. But one thing I can tell you as somebody new to it, the best way to learn it is if you have power poles or you tie up to a dock, make your boat stationary to where it will not move. Like I said, with power poles or tying up to a dock. And if you can position your boat to have some kind of man-made object in front of you, some of the best is just a buoy that's sticking out of the water where you can see the cable going down, or a bridge or something like that. And then just sit there and just test distances and knowing where your bait hits the water, what your bait looks like on the screen. Because that's one of the hardest things that's been for me is, okay, that fish is 40 feet out there, is making a cast and going, oh, I thought I was at 40 feet and really I was only 35 feet. So you're always better to cast too far and bring the bait back to them. But just sitting there and being stationary is really a good way to learn it and get a lot more proficient with it.
Okay. I mean, that's definitely good information. Definitely good information. Okay. So Brent, what is your favorite? This is from Juan Pedroza. I guess this is that question he had earlier. So Brent, what is your favorite combo and technique to fish with? I kind of have I know what it's been in the past, but let's see if it's changed.
It hasn't changed. It's still a good old bladed jig, But I will say, it was the Speed Demon, the swim bait rod, the 7.6 swim bait rod. But if you transfer that over to the Asage, it's the Freestyle, the 7.6 Freestyle rod. That rod is awesome. I'm loving that rod. It's a great rod. I've caught some really nice ones on it the last couple weeks. Caught some nice ones today on it. Caught a nice snook it with it even. But pair that with a bladed jig, and then I'm still using some of the good old bassinators in the 8-to-1. But I've been mixing in the new MGTI as well. That reel is super smooth, and I'm loving it. If I really want to crawl that bait, I can just crawl that thing along. And like I said, I caught some nice snook on it today.
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a nice setup.
Dude, I love that MGTI. I love it. It's so nice. I've got, they're not, I mean, for KastKing to be putting out a $300 reel, you know what I mean? You guys got to really think about it. I mean, for KastKing, we don't put out a whole lot of expensive reels. And of course, granted, as time goes on, we're going to have these elite setups. And of course, we're going to keep things affordable, but you also have to look at what it would cost in some other manufacturer. But good Lord, let me tell you, that MGTI is a fantastic
product. Without a doubt. My dear friend Aaron Martins, he had some of the most high-end Japanese stuff, and I remember I'd pick it up and mess with it every once in a while, and I've felt some very, very expensive stuff over the years. And I'll tell you what, I'll put that MGTI up against any of them. I mean, it is a super smooth reel, and the biggest thing is if we can talk the higher ups to giving us a couple more gear ratios in it, we'll be set. But it's an awesome reel.
Yeah. Gear ratio is definitely, what's funny too is because that is kind of odd, because we've actually we went bananas with gear ratios. Early on in our careers here at KastKing, and then all of a sudden it's like we found a groove. Okay, let's just stick to these, and it's like but it left us going. Okay, are you going to make it in couple gear ratios? You had the Royale Legends, the Mega Jaws, even the Bassinator had 2 gear ratios. So
and that's something to remember, especially for newbies out there. The number one important thing when it comes to a reel is your gear ratio. You have to have the right gear ratio for the right techniques. If something's too fast, sometimes you're going to over torque it. You won't be able to fish a big crankbait on a high gear ratio reel, or you can't put a buzz bait on a 5-to-1 and think you're going to keep that thing on the surface all day. And even with a bladed jig, the MGTI, that's about as slow a gear ratio as I'm going to get on a bladed jig, because a lot of times those fish will come up and they'll eat that bait and come at you from behind. And if you don't have a fast enough gear ratio, you can't catch them. And unfortunately, you'll lose some fish on too slow of a gear ratio. So remember that gear ratio is the number one important thing when it comes to fishing a reel.
It is key. That is definitely key. Okay, so Melissa Justice, she is one of our favorites here. Of course, she's a diehard. Melissa has a question for you. Besides bass fishing, and this is a loaded question for Brent, I can tell you that, because this dude loves to fish. So besides bass, and I'm curious, what is your favorite fishing besides bass? So besides bass, what is your favorite fish to fish for?
Whatever body of water I'm around and what's swimming in it, I'm going to go fish for it. But it's kind of bittersweet for us. We're down here in Florida. My parents have a place on the West Coast, and I love to saltwater fish. But in the last 10 years, we've fallen in love with offshore fishing. And up until this past August, we had a 30-foot offshore boat, and unfortunately, we sold it. So it's killing me not to be going offshore and doing some offshore fishing. I love going offshore because I love the mystery of catching whatever swims in the ocean. I mean, we catch, we love to, like right now, we'd be going out and catching some red grouper and having some phenomenal meals, maybe some cobia. But when you go out there, you hook Goliath, you hook 500-pound Goliath grouper and giant sharks. And every time we went out there, we were trying to go farther and farther out to where we could catch more unique fish. So we sold our big saltwater boat. So until we can get a new one, my hands are a little bit tied there, but I love saltwater fishing for sure.
Okay. All right. So shifting gears a little bit here, going back to the Bass Pro Tour and things like that. Now, granted, we've seen in the past, anglers are getting eliminated. They're shortening the field Now in 2026, what can we expect from MLF Bass Pro Tour? Because I know they get rid of a couple guys,
Right.
but they open some seats
Yep.
for, like you said, the Pro Series to be able to stepping stone
Right.
into
Yep.
that. So,
Well,
what's that do for you guys? How does that make you feel? What kind of motivation or
well,
fear?
the last couple of years, they've definitely made the fields smaller, and I know it's hurt a lot of feelings, and it's been tough on a lot of guys, and it's been very stressful for me because I was very fortunate to have a couple of events that saved me last year to requalify for this year. But the smaller field is going to give the fans better opportunity to focus on, a smaller field of anglers, but it's going to give that smaller field of anglers more exposure to where they're going to be more valuable to their sponsors and, hopefully have a better fan base. So that's ultimately what they're trying to do, is they're trying to make it at a platform where everybody at that level can hopefully be making a good living. So I think we're going to have to wait and see here for a year or two. But I've always said for the longest time, our sport needs a smaller field at the top for guys to really have a big fan base and have, probably the top of the line sponsors as well.
Okay.
But all the leagues are great. I mean, there's so many different great leagues out there. I think people have to find what their preference is as well. So yeah, but I'm like I said, I love the Bass Pro Tour. I'm fortunate and blessed to be a part of it. And I'm hoping I can continue to have a great year this year and continue to do it. Cause I think you're just going to see bigger and better things from the Bass Pro Tour here moving forward. With that being said, of the 51 anglers, I don't know if this year, if they cut 6 or 5, but ultimately the pro circuit moving forward is how guys will qualify. There will be the bottom 5 that fall out in 2026, and they'll bring 5 guys in from the pro circuit. So that's kind of the other side of me fishing the pro circuit as well. If I were to have a bad season in the BPTs and a good season in the pro circuit, I could requalify that way as well.
Oh, that is kind of neat. Like, let's say so is that possible? Let's say you have like the wart, knock on wood. I'm trying to jinx you, and I apologize.
Yeah.
Let's say you're on the chopping block to get eliminated this year in the Pro Tour, the Bass Pro Tour. But yet, well, we've seen it with Scott Canterbury. Scott Canterbury last year. I mean, not that he had a bad year in the Bass Pro Tour or the Bass Masters, but he had some really good wins at NPFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So let's say that was a similar system for you, but with MLF, you could get eliminated from the Bass Pro Tour, potentially get dogleg right back in.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And it's funny you say that because my very first year as a professional was 1995, and I made the Bassmaster Top 100s back in the day. And I was young and naive, and I thought, how hard could it be to go around the country and catch 5 12-inch bass in a day? Well, I found out that first year and was very humbled, and I fell out of the Bassmaster Top 100s. Well, I went that next year, and I signed up for 2 divisions of the Bassmaster Opens back then. And back then, that's when they took the top 5 highest finishers, and they would make the Bassmaster Classic. So I fell out that first year. I was kind of heartbroken, but I was bound and determined to make it. And I went and I fished 2 divisions of the Bassmaster Opens. I won an event. I made my first Bassmaster Classic, and I requalified for the top 100s, which now are the elites, and had been there ever since to 2019. And now we're at the BPTs.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, which is actually kind of a neat segue into a question I had loaded for you. Other than fishing, the fishing industry itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the biggest risk or gamble you've ever taken or may still yet have to take outside of the fishing industry? Because we know fishing is a big gamble. Risk, like, you know what, I'm laying on the line, leaving this job.
Anything in the world of business to a degree is a gamble. And that's one thing for us. It's kind of funny, though, we filled up our schedule, but with only doing the BPT tour, we felt like we needed to have another source of income to go ahead and pay off our house. And we started a skid steer business back home in Kansas City, had all the equipment, really enjoyed it. But, starting a business like that is a gamble. Now we're kind of putting it on the back burner a little bit because we're going to be gone so much and so busy. But there's a little bit of a gamble there. But I think ultimately any kind of business like that, we were talking earlier, I think where you're willing to put in the work and the labor and have the know-how how to do it, if you're willing to get in there and grind it out and make it happen, we can make it happen. It's just for us, we started it, but now we're taking a little step away from it because I'm like, going and sitting in a skid steer is fun, but going and winning tournaments is even more fun. So we're gonna hopefully win some tournaments this year.
Now, if you could make a living at the fishing dream, or you could make a living at the skid steer dream, which dream is your bigger dream?
Well, the dream is definitely if I can make it in the world of fishing. It's just like last week is a perfect example. I had a blast last week, but I'm looking at my wife, and it was pretty stressful last week when you watch a minimum of $15,000 slip out of your hands because I came up one fish short. Where the difference is when I go sit in the skid steer and I do 8 or 10 hours worth of work, I'm going to get 8 or 10 hours worth of pay. So I think you and I were even texting about that earlier about, you and your other gig, when you go put in 10 hours there, you're going to get paid for it, where this fishing is a gamble.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with anglers, and they kind of like, everybody believes that I shouldn't put words in people's mouths, but there's this big following that any pro at your level, whether it's NPFL, the Bassmaster Elites, Major League Fishing, you guys are rich.
Yeah.
You guys are rich. The money's just falling from the ceilings. Like, you guys are rolling with it. They don't realize that, hey, every year, or to 2 years, Toyota, if you're sponsored by Toyota or you have a deal with them, you got to buy a new truck every couple of years. You got to buy a new boat every couple of years. You got to sell it. What happens if your boat doesn't sell?
So no, you're exactly right. I'm talking to Bobby in the background because she's our brains behind everything. And just for me to go fish this year, to fish the 2 circuits, I'm gambling not only my time, but it's about $90,000 out of pockets between entry fees and expenses. I think we budget about $2,000 per event in expenses. So just for us to start the season, it's about $90,000 we're gambling right there. So if I go win $100,000 next week in an event, we just now broke even. Broke even. But so yes, if there's anybody wanting to sponsor us out there, we'd love to talk about that. But we are very fortunate to have these partners that help with those expenses. But I assure you that there are a few that are doing pretty well, and they've earned it. But it's the game has changed a lot in this sport as well.
Yeah, and like you said, that's $90,000 to break even. Like, and you don't have it. Like, how many of those guys are putting on credit cards?
A lot.
And going, okay, I just got to do good. Or leveraging things out, like taking on, like borrowing money from their homes or family heirlooms. Like, say they had property they inherited and it's been in their family for centuries, and they leverage it out to go gamble on this.
And that I don't recommend that for anybody. I can't imagine that stress. I've been very fortunate and blessed to do it the way I've done it. We've been very fortunate. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan. I always tell people in that world of I'm never going to go in debt to do this stuff, but it's a gamble for sure. And it's very, very stressful. So, but we're lucky. Yeah, we're lucky without a doubt. I just need to be a little extra lucky and win an event or 2 this year, because that would sure help.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like in racing. They always say in order to be a multi-million-dollar, like say a $2 million race team or something, you got to start off with 10 million or something like that.
Exactly. Well, and that's something that people will go and look at our profile and see that I've won like $3 million. Like, wow, you've won $3 million. And it's been fortunate. I've been blessed. Okay. But now divide that over X amount of years with what I just told you on our expenses and do the math and figure it out. And it's, it's not as much as what people think.
Yeah, if I went back and totaled up everything I've ever, earned in my life, I'd be like, wow, I've done really well. And then I stop and take a look and go, what the hell do I have to show for it? Really? You know, like
Exactly. Yep.
So, I got a whole lot of cheeseburgers is what I showed for it.
But we're loving it. We're going to do it as long as we can, and ultimately, doing this sport is having fun too, and that's having fun and ultimately sticking with your strengths and doing what you're comfortable with. But on that same note, is especially with the every fish counts, you have to be versatile and you have to be willing to do a lot of different things to be successful. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brent, we're coming up on that 45-minute mark. I've kind of kept you on a little longer than I wanted to. So last question.
Yep.
What does the future hold in store for Mr. Brent and Miss Bobby Chapman?
Well, ultimately, short-term goal is to go out, and we're going to spend a lot of time on the road this year, and put a lot of miles on the Miller Tech Wrap Toyota and the Miller Tech Nitro, and like I said, hopefully have some wins along the way. Hopefully make the Bass Pro, or make the Red Crest for next year, and hopefully make the Pro Circuit Championship, and then from there, we're just going to keep going along with the Bass Pro Tour. And we're at the age, or we're at that stage in life where our kids are in college, and they're going to be around with us for a few years. So we're trying to enjoy the time we have as family, but eventually they're going to graduate college and probably have their own careers and ultimately their own families. So we have a lot of changes, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years as well. So we're just learning as a happily married couple for a few years how to navigate the next chapter of our lives.
Well, congratulations on that. Well, good deal. So how can people follow Brent and Bobby Chapman on their adventures of their happily married road life on the Bass Pro and the Pro Tour? How can they follow you on social media?
Just through Brent Chapman Fishing, through the different Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all those cool channels. And that's the thing about me, and maybe a lot of people don't understand, is Brent Chapman Fishing is not only me, it's also my wife who's behind the camera. And a lot of these young guys, they have full-time camera crews that are with them, production crews and all that. Mine is that lady that's right over there behind the camera. I owe her a huge thank you, shout out. And if you're a fan of Brent Chapman Fishing, you owe Bobby a big thanks as well.
Absolutely. I can say Brent does a lot of work. He does. The guy is always grinding. He's out there fishing. He's rigging. I mean, he's doing the fishing thing. But there is so much behind the scenes. I mean, Bobby's the accountant, I'm sure. I know she's the scheduling manager. I know she's a media manager. She's picking up phone calls. She's arranging and handing this and that. You go see Brent at shows. If you actually pay attention, you know who Bobby is. She's back there. Brent.
Yep, she definitely tells me where to go. She is the accountant. She reminds me of, hey, you need to win this tournament so we can pay a few more bills. So
those
we have a mortgage to pay,
that we just purchased to put to work. And also need to you incurred all that debt. Let's pay it off. So
hey, AJ, also you had mentioned about fans following me, and something to throw out there is, it's Bobby and I. That's who's doing this. We're down here this week, hopefully going to create some content, in the social media world. But if there's fans out there that are wanting something from Brent Chapman, don't hesitate to go on our channels and give us some ideas, comment about it, if something you'd like to see, or a technique or something like that, because that's what we need to feed off of to build more content. So
that's right. Yeah, they need fuel for the content machine.
Exactly.
Guys, so give them that fuel. Now, speaking of content machine, one last question. I know I said I was done.
Yeah.
Pros versus Joes. Are we seeing anything for Pros versus Joes in 26?
Not this year in 2026, just because we've ramped up the fishing, the competitive side of it so much. And that's funny you say that, is we love doing Pro versus Joes, and we would love to have some sponsors get behind us more to where we could do it and make it feasible. So what we need the fans to go out there and watch them and follow them. And this is kind of, I think, they're all on my YouTube channel. And here's what's kind of funny about a lot of my demographic, and hopefully that some of them will hear this, is I think a lot of my demographic is that group of people that they want to watch stuff on old school TV. They want to watch Bassmasters on TNN or whatever.
Oh man, TNN,
yeah. And those days in the fishing world are kind of gone.
They are.
And then people a lot of times will ask me, hey, how do we watch Pro versus Joe anymore? I'm like, they're all on YouTube. And I actually had a gentleman comment. He's like, well, I don't watch YouTube. I'm like, well, that's where fishing is these days. So if the fans like Pro versus Joe, we enjoy doing it. Would love to do more. We just need the fans to go out there and watch the ones we have on YouTube and encourage us to do more.
Yeah, I wonder how many people in our comment section actually know what TNN stands for. The Nashville Network. Yes.
The Nashville Network. That
I remember
was
getting
a
up
few years ago.
Getting up at 5 a.m.
Yep.
on Saturday mornings to go watch Bill Dance.
Before VCRs were even around where you had to watch it live.
Yes.
And the VCRs came along and you had to make sure it was recording and fast forward through the commercials and all that. So times have changed, haven't they?
They have. And you know what? And it almost takes the fun away from it. You know, you had something to look forward to. You
exactly.
know?
Yep.
Oh, well, Brent, Bobby, guys, thank you so very much for.
Thank you. And AJ, I'm going to say this again. We need to do more of these. So
we do.
I enjoy doing them with you. And we're here. I'm here all the time. So we should do these more often.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. I got Brent and Bobby booked, not just at their parents' house, but on other places on the road, hallway.
Hey, we're going to be all over the country this year. So we're going to be on the road more than we're at home here. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's do it. Awesome, man. Thank you guys very much. Brent, do me a favor. Tell your parents thank you very much for loaning a little bit of time to us. We definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely. We are good. It's a little bit later here, so it's ice cream time for me. So you all have you're probably at dinner time, but it's ice cream time for me.
I got to get down and go make dinner. So, but
all right. Well, super.
Awesome.
Well, thank
you guys. Thank you very much, Bobby. Thank you, Brent. You guys have a great night.
All right. Thank you. See you, AJ.
See you later. Brent and Bobby Chapman, man, those two guys are some class acts. Genuine as all genuine can be. Love, love, love. Every time I can have them on the show. And you know what? It makes me feel 10 times better to have them want to be on the show even more, because I always feel like I'm being a pest. I hate bothering a lot of these guys, because they're busy. They're super busy. They got a lot going on, a lot to think about. I mean, you heard, Brent talking about him and Bobby out there grinding at it out, trying to figure out how to, hey, you know what? Yeah, we got this going on. We got to make ends meet here. We got to get over there. We got to do this. I mean, it's a grind. It's a full-time job just to try to be successful in life. And then to live a dream at the same time and make that dream a job and a reality and a successful one, man, you talk about a gamble if there ever was one. It's awesome. We're glad to have Brent Chapman and Bobby Chapman taking that gamble with us at KastKing. So guys, that's going to do it for me tonight. I'm going to get out of here. I got to go make some dinner. I'm going to make me some Polish sausages, potatoes, kind of some comfort food right there. Get me and the boy all fattened up, all fat and sassy, and have a good time while the wife goes to church. So, guys, do me a favor. If you're not following us on TikTok, check us out, KastKing USA. We have the same handle for Instagram, KastKing USA, as well as a secondary one, KastKing Community. And then, of course, if you're watching right here via Facebook or YouTube, you already know. Just make sure you click that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell button, and we will get you hooked up. Plus, just to remind you guys, if you guys are watching this in the rebroadcast or watching live, make sure you guys are commenting. Please share as much as you can. Sharing this, getting that reach out there as much as possible is what allows me to keep doing this, allows me to keep doing giveaways. But speaking of giveaways, and in honor of Mr. Brent and Bobby Chapman, we're going to be giving away next week when I go live on Tuesday. I'm going to announce the contestants, the finalists to the coin toss challenge of who is going to get that Brent Chapman combo, either in a spinning or in a bait casting combo. Whoever wins it will get to choose what's available in stock, and we will get it shipped out to you guys and get you hooked up. So guys, make sure you're commenting, and of course, like. Guys, I'm out of here. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday night when I go live right here on KastKing Live. I'm out. Deuces. Hip, 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 hip. Big AZ, no brim.